This presentation of polarization covers the following list of topics: double refraction, optic axis, polarization by double refraction, and the Nicol prism. Double refraction. The production and study of polarized light over a very wide range of wavelengths utilizes the phenomena of double refraction in crystals of calcite and quartz. When a beam of ordinary unpolarized light is incident on a calcite or quartz crystal, there will be, in addition to the reflected beam, two refracted beams in place of the usual single one as observed in ordinary glass. Birefringence. This phenomena is called double refraction or birefringence. Upon measuring the angles of refraction for different angles of incidence, it is found that Snell's law holds for one ray and not for the other. The ray for which Snell's law holds is called the ordinary ray, while the other is called the extraordinary ray. Since the two opposite faces of a calcite crystal are always parallel, the two refracted rays emerge parallel to the incident beam and therefore parallel to each other. Here are two pictures displaying birefringence. The top one shows fluorescence in calcite crystal and birefringence as a laser beam splits in two while traveling from left to right. This picture is from the internet and has been taken by Jan Pavelka. The second picture is of a calcite crystal which has been laid upon a graph paper with blue lines showing double refraction. On to some more details on the O and E ray. Inside the crystal, the ordinary ray is always found to be in the plane of incidence. Only for special directions through the crystal is this true for the extraordinary ray. If incident light is normal to the surface, the extraordinary ray will be refracted at some angle that is not zero and will come out parallel to but displaced from the incident beam. The ordinary ray will pass straight through without deviation. A rotation of the crystal about the O ray will, in this case, cause the E ray to rotate around the fixed O ray. Crystals of calcite and quartz are transparent to both visible and ultraviolet radiation. Calcite is chemically CaCO3 occurring in nature in a great variety of crystal forms. Calcite and quartz are examples of anisotropic crystals, and you can see a picture of both of them on the right hand side. Calcite breaks readily into simple cleavage rhombohedrons as shown on the right. Each face of the crystal is a parallelogram whose angles are 78 degrees 5 minutes and 101 degrees 55 minutes. The figure on the right shows side and end views of the double refraction of light by a calcite crystal. The top figure indicates the side view, the bottom one the end view of the crystal. If struck a blow with a sharp instrument, each crystal can be made to cleave or break along cleavage planes into two or more smaller crystals which always have faces that are parallelograms with angles as shown on the right. Calcite and quartz are examples of anisotropic crystals. Anisotropic crystals are ones in which the physical properties vary with direction. All crystals except those belonging to the cubic system are anisotropic to a larger or lesser degree. Furthermore, the two examples chosen show the type of anisotropy which characterizes uniaxial crystals. We now define something called the optic axis. In calcite and quartz, there is a single direction called the optic axis, which is an axis of symmetry with respect to both the crystal form and the arrangement of atoms. If any property such as heat conductivity is measured for different directions, it is found to be same along any line perpendicular to the optic axis. At other angles, it changes, reaching a maximum or minimum along the axis. The direction of the optic axis is shown in the figure on the right for both calcite and quartz. It is indicated by broken lines. Double refraction in uniaxial crystals disappears when light is made to enter the crystal so that it travels along the optic axis. That there is no separation of the O and E rays in this case. This is also true in directions at right angles to the axis, but here the O and E rays behave differently in a less obvious respect. They tend to differ in velocity. The direction of the optic axis in calcite is determined by drawing a line XX prime through a blunt corner of the crystal so that it makes equal angles with all faces. A blunt corner is one where three obtuse face angles come together and there are only two such corners more or less opposite each other. In quartz, the optic axis Y prime runs lengthwise through the crystal, its direction being parallel to the 6 side faces. The optic axis is not a particular line through the crystal, but a direction. That is, for any given point in the crystal, an optic axis may be drawn which will be parallel to that for any other point. We now define principal sections and principal planes. The principal section is a plane containing the optic axis and normal to any cleavage face. A principal section always cuts the surfaces of a calcite crystal in a parallelogram with angles of 71 degrees and 109 degrees. An end view of a principal section cuts the surface in a line parallel to AB. All other planes through the crystal parallel to the plane represented by AB are also principal sections. To describe directions of vibrations, we make use of two other planes. The principal plane of the ordinary ray, which contains the optic axis and the O ray, the principal plane of the extraordinary ray, which contains the optic axis and the extraordinary ray. The principal planes of the two refracted rays do not coincide except in special cases. Special cases are those for which the plane of incidence is a principal section and the principal planes of the O and E rays all coincide. Here we can see the inventor of the Nicol prism, William Nicol, with his epitaph at the Warriston Cemetery, which reads, "In memory of William Nicol, inventor of the polarizing prism, everywhere known by his name." The Nicol prism was invented by William Nicol, who lived from 1768 to 1851. He was a Scottish physicist and devised the prism in 1828. The Nicol prism is a very useful polarizing device made from the crystal of calcite. A crystal is taken 3 times as long as it is wide. Its ends are cut down from 71 degrees in the principal section to a more acute angle of 68 degrees. The crystal is then cut apart along the plane A', D', perpendicular to both the principal section and the end faces. The two cut surfaces are ground and polished optically flat and then cemented together with Canada balsam. Canada balsam is used because it is a clear transparent substance with an index of refraction midway between the refractive index of the ordinary ray and the extraordinary ray. As you can see in the table below, the refractive index of the ordinary ray is 1.65836. The refractive index of Canada balsam is 1.55. The refractive index of the extraordinary ray is 1.48641. Optically, the balsam is denser than calcite for the E ray and less dense for the O ray. The E ray will be refracted into and through the balsam, while the O ray for large angles of incidence will be totally reflected. The critical angle for total reflection of the O ray at the first calcite to balsam surface is about 69 degrees and corresponds to a limiting angle SMSO of about 14 degrees. At greater angles than this, some of the O ray will be transmitted. This means that a Nicol should not be used in light which is highly convergent or highly divergent. The E ray in a Nicol also also has an angular limit beyond which it will be totally reflected by the balsam. This is due to the fact that the index of refraction of calcite is different for different directions through the crystal. The refractive index of 1.48641 applies only for light traveling at right angles to the optic axis. Along the optic axis, the E ray travels with the same speed as the O ray, and it therefore has the same index of refraction as 1.658. For intermediate angles, the effective index lies between these two limits of 1.486 and 1.658. There will therefore be a maximum angle SMSE beyond which the balsam will be optically less dense than the calcite, and there will be total reflection of the E vibration. The prism is so cut that this angle likewise is in the neighborhood of 14 degrees. The direction of instant light on the Nicol is therefore limited on one side to avoid having the O ray transmitted, and on the other side to avoid having the E ray totally reflected. The polarization of light by double refraction in calcite was discovered by Huygens in 1678. He sent a beam of light through two crystals as shown at the top of figure. If the principal sections are parallel, the two rays O' and E' are separated by a distance equal to the sum of the two displacements found in each crystal if used separately. Upon rotation of the second crystal, each of the two rays O and E is refracted into two parts, making four as shown by the end-on view in figure B. At the 90-degree position in figure C, the original O' and E' rays have faded and vanished, and the new rays O" and E" have reached a maximum of intensity. Further rotation finds the original rays appearing, and eventually, if the crystals are of equal thickness, these rays come together into a single beam in the center for the 180-degree position shown at the bottom. The rays O" and E" having now vanished. Thus, merely by using two natural crystals of calcite, Huygens was able to demonstrate the polarization of light. The explanation of the movement of light rays is one simply of deviation by refraction and easily understood. The varying intensity of the spots, however, involves the polarization of the two light beams leaving the first crystal. In brief, the explanation is somewhat as follows. Ordinary light upon entering the first calcite crystal is broken up into two plane polarized rays. One, the O ray, vibrating perpendicular to the principal plane, which is here the same as the principal section, and the other, the E ray, vibrating in the principal section. In other words, the crystal resolves the light into two components by causing one type of vibration to travel one path and the other vibration to travel another path.